Hi everyone! Thanks for joining my talk on how creating a Udemy course opened new opportunities for me and how you can easily do the same. So why are we here? Today I'll share with you why should we even talk about online courses, what made me create a Udemy course, how it impacted me in unexpected ways, why should you do it too, and of course, how can you do it too? And TLDR, it is not as hard as you may think. So a little bit about me. My name is Sarit Vakrat. I'm a director of quality and R&D operations in Glassbox. I have over 9 years of experience in high tech. And during COVID, while I was working full time, I also had my own QA consulting business for startups. I was a lecturer, I did workshops, I did mentoring. And on top of that, I'm also a Udemy instructor and a public speaker on QA agendas and a little bit of DevOps into the mix. So what is Udemy? Udemy was founded in 2009 by Aaron Bailey with a mission to improve lives through learning. Udemy has over 59 million learners with over 60,000 instructors teaching over 213,000 courses in more than 75 languages. There are courses on almost anything you may think of, from childcare, gardening to technology. Udemy has the largest course catalog in the world. The courses prices ranges from $99 to $200 without any discounts or deals, but most of Udemy courses usually sell between $10 to $20 with discounts and deals. Other than the paid courses, there is a really wide range of free courses as well. 80% of Fortune 100 companies trust Udemy for employee upskilling, including Walt Disney Corporation, Apple, PayPal, Samsung, Unilever, and many more companies. Maybe even your company too. This is the Udemy's platform where you can upload the videos and content. To be honest, it's super easy and it's very intuitive and straightforward. In Udemy, you can upload videos for the lessons with whatever content you want. You can add a presentation, a combination of a video showing you and the slides, maybe only you, maybe just the slides. That's really up to you. A nice feature that Udemy have is that they have automatic captions for your videos, which makes your videos automatically accessible and much more approachable. This actually works surprisingly well. However, it only works if you speak in English and with a relatively clear accent. In all other languages, you would need to upload your own captions. You can see here in the screenshot an example from my course where Udemy generated the captions for me. In Udemy, there is a variety of supported content that you can add to your course, such as quizzes, in forms of questions, assignments, coding exercises, articles, almost any downloadable content that your student may use. And in this example, you can see here a multiple questions quiz, which is very easy to add. It's very straightforward. Here's an example of assignment content. It's pretty easy to add, as I've mentioned. And once a student submits answers, you can actually review it and provide feedback to the student. And they can even reply back on your feedback, which makes it really nice because then you have really high engagement with your students. I invented a new term I like to call FemLearn, which is my way of describing women's studies. And by women's studies, I mean how we learn as women, what we learn, and who teaches us, whether it's men or women. When I started preparing for this lecture, I thought it would be interesting to share some insight on this perspective as well, especially since this is International Women's Day. So, did you know that online courses are dominated by men's? A study published by Teaching Guide showed that as of December 2018, a whopping number of 70% of all Udemy courses were taught by male instructors, with just 23% of courses on Udemy taught by women. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find a more updated study, but from a personal perspective, I honestly don't see any change in the numbers. Only if we want to be heard and seen, we need to find where there are gaps and minimize them. And online courses are a great example of this. So this is me doing Hail Mary, trying to show others, mostly women, but of course also men's, that it is not as scary, exhausting, and complicated as one may think. So please help me change this narrative. In this table, for example, you can see the huge gap between male instructors to female instructors. Even in design, which considered to be a rather female-dominated topic, there is only 18% female instructor versus 82% male instructors. I come from development background, and knowing that only 14% of the development and technical courses are held by women is upsetting. I know so many talented women whom are wonderful teachers and can really share their knowledge. And we can change that. We can close this gap easily. The only areas that women are leading as course creators are soft skills courses, such as parenting, beauty, and fashion. Well, this is somehow expected that these course categories will be female dominated. Even in categories where women dominated, their lead is very minimal, with 3 of the 6 subcategories showing female instructors barely above 50%. But before we dive in, I want to talk about andragogy, a field of understanding adult learning, which helped me a lot in planning my course. Andragogy is the art and science of helping adults learn. It differs from pedagogy, which focuses on the education of children. The term was popularized by Malcolm Knowles, who identified specific principles that cater to adult learners. Andragogy principles revolves around how adults learn. There are a few principles. The first one is self-directed learning, and that means that we as adults typically prefer to take responsibility for our own learning journey, which is pretty obvious. We appreciate having control over what, how, and when we learn. That's the beauty of online learning. It gives you all of the control. Another important principle is leveraging experience. As adults, we bring a rich background of personal and professional experiences to the learning environment, which can be used as a foundation for new learning. This experiential knowledge helps in making learning much more meaningful and relevant. In my course, I provide many real examples from real life. For example, how QA teams are actually working, which really helps to make theoretical part much easier to understand and to relate. Relevance and practicality. As adults, we need to understand why we are learning something. Adults are motivated to learn when we see the direct relevance of the content and the impact on our personal or professional life. At the end of the day, as adults, we don't really have time to spend learning something that won't provide us any value, right? For example, you can create an online course about learning how to use Canvas or Photoshop to create your own personal branding and explain why personal branding is so important, or just anything that will provide value for you. Problem-centered approach means that unlike children who often learn subjects for future use, adults typically learn to solve immediate problems. Thus, a problem-solving approach to learning is much more effective than a content-oriented one. When you want to improve your course content, make sure to give examples of how to solve real-life and work-related issues. Lastly, internal motivation. While external factors like promotions or certifications can motivate adults, we're primarily driven by internal factors such as personal growth, job satisfaction, and quality of life improvement. Internal motivation is very tricky on online courses since there is no direct content, but by outlining the benefits a student can gain, you can help align this with the person's internal motivation. For example, learning how to become a digital nomad. So, with that big start, let's talk about Udemy. I originally wanted to create a Udemy course because I just started a new business and I wanted to be able to offer my clients more. I wanted to be able to use Udemy course as leverage to sell packages by giving them lifetime access to a Udemy course, which sounds great. But during the time that I started my business, I also bought a new house, so I needed to make more money faster than ever. And I guess that somewhere, I really hope that I'll be able to make good money out of it. And don't you worry, I'm still paying my mortgage. And on top of those very important reasons, I really like teaching. I was also doing lectures and teaching, and Udemy seems like a great way to reach a much bigger audience in a more affordable way. A little bit about my Udemy course. My Udemy course is about manual testing from starting to learn up the way to getting a job. It has a total of 9 hours, and from time to time, my course is in one of Udemy's highest rated courses. The Udemy reviews changes your rating very often. So even as we speak, it might change. Udemy course ratings are from 1 to 5, or 5 is the maximum, and my current rating is 4.3. I wanted to make my course even better than what I used to teach in real courses. So I added more content and I made sure to add lots of quizzes and hands-on assignment where I actually review it and provide real feedback. Some nice statistics. I have over 814 students from over 79 countries, where the top 5 is Israel, USA, India, UK, and Canada. I even have students from Zimbabwe, Japan, Botswana, Kazakhstan, and so many other countries, which is, to be honest, super cool when you see where the students are from. I mean, think about the students' variety and how impactful it is. So, how did creating the course impacted me? When it comes to it, eventually, I was able to get more clients, which was one of my main goals. But other than clients and some nice passive income, it actually turned out to be much bigger and greater than this. Firstly, it really increased how I was perceived by others in my field. I got offers to lecture, to publish articles, to be interviewed in QA magazines, and I got invites to talk on podcasts and generally got lots of questions from many people in the QA field. It also improved my network and opened new opportunities for me. I get approached by people from all over the world, not just from my country. But what I later saw after closing my business, that it actually really boosted my professional career. When I started searching for a new job, most of the interviews revolved around the Udemy course. It seems as if most of them weren't even interested on whether I know how to do QA, simply since I had an online course in a platform that probably they also have access from work. To be honest, the hardest part of creating the course was to find the motivation to dedicate time and to work on it. I took really long breaks from working on it, especially since I worked in 2 jobs at the same time. I was a business owner and a full-time employee, so that means I basically had no life for 2 years. But what worked for me was that I did it on my own terms. Whenever I had some free time, I made coffee, I closed the door, and I sat in my pajamas to work on it. In total, it took me 2 years. From ideation to creation to publishing my course. But when I look back, it actually took me around 5 months since I took so many breaks and I was on-off working on it. But this is just my story. I am sure that if the course was shorter and not 9 hours, it would have taken much less. And what took me 5 months to create might be much less for someone else. So, if you're sold by now and want to know how to start your own Udemy or online course, let's dive in. Obviously, the first thing you need is an idea. What will the course be about? You can get ideas from Udemy featured topics to see trending topics that you want to give them a go, or even use ChatGPT or any AI tool you like to just spin up ideas. It works wonderfully. I actually gave it some shot and it's quite nice. Once you're done and you have an idea, you can start doing some market research. Identify your competitors. What do they teach? What's their general agendas? What do they offer? How much do they price their course? After you gather a few examples, think what can be your unique feature? What's your added value? Again, using AI tools here will save you lots of time, as you can use these tools to do some research for you. After you established your idea and you finished market research, it's time to do some planning. Draft a process plan. What are you going to do and how? Like, really break it down to action items. I personally recommend allocating time in your calendar and really commit to your plan. Set clear deadlines and milestones. I highly, highly recommend making sure that they are not too big, so that you will have those little wins that will push you and encourage you and motivate you to keep working on your course. Now, remember the undergogi that I mentioned earlier? Well, when you are designing your Udemy course, use those principles. Put yourself in the learner's shoes. How and what would you like to learn? Designing courses that offer practical, real-world application can significantly enhance engagement and learning retention. Encouraging learners to draw upon their own experience and providing opportunities for self-directed learning can make the educational experience much more impactful. Structuring content to address real-life problems and emphasizing internal motivation can lead to higher satisfaction and success rate among adult learners. I recommend creating presentation boilerplates. It will save you tons of time and you will not need to think about it each time you create a new video. In general, just prepare all of your supporting course content in advance. It will help you get little wins faster. The most important part of all of this is the syllabus. It will help you understand what you need to prepare and give you structure. I will say that I have changed mine many times before I was happy with it. And once you create it, make sure that the order of lessons makes sense. Ask colleagues, ask ChatGPT, ask any AI tool and any person who is willing to hear you out if that makes sense. Think of engagement and practical value for students, such as quizzes, articles, coding assignments. I have assignments that I actually check myself and I provide feedback to the students to help them learn from this. And the best tip that I got was to write scripts for each lesson. Just write every single word down. Even if it's recorded, it makes it so much easier to remember and to not lose important information. I have a terrible memory, really an embarrassing one, so it was a great fit for me. Now, at this point, you must be wondering if you need any special or specific tools for recording, and to be honest, no. A laptop, basic free editing software, and a camera is all you need. I did not buy anything, and I only used my Mac to record using the built-in QuickTime player for both recording and editing afterwards. Now, this Mac is relatively new, and I have not used it in my course, and I do recommend buying it, but I will talk about it in the next slide. A small note about video on-off during lessons. I am very camera shy. I know it does not appear like this, but I'm camera shy. And as I said, I made my course in my pajamas. So I was definitely without camera, but it's really up to you. In Udemy courses, there is a really wide range of courses that have instructors with video and without. But if you still insist, there are some improvements that can help you, like buying a microphone and an external high resolution camera. I can also recommend OBS app for recording. It's a free open source and it's pretty simple and easy to use. I did not use it for recording my course, but thanks to Women's on Stage, from my previous lectures with them, they suggested to use it and it actually works great, and I wish I knew it when I created my course. The money time is when you start recording. Do a few dry runs. Most of us don't stand around recording yourself and it's really not natural. And once the video is ready, start with editing your video. Now, this is a big must. One tip about video length, don't make each video too long. Try to keep them smaller to help the focus high. So when I started the recording, I invented a system to help me reduce the time I spent on editing process. Whenever I made a mistake, I either shouted out loud or clapped my hands really loud so that I can see the spikes of noise in the editing software. However, I was a bit lazy here, and when I finished recording, I only skimmed the videos quickly and I missed some of those parts. And there were a lot of parts that I forgot to do this. So when I published my course, I got a lot of bad feedback about Hebrew sections and full gibberish sections that I forgot to edit out. And I could have provided my students a better experience. So don't be me, don't be lazy, don't skip this phase. And once your course is live, ask for feedback from colleagues, friends, whoever is willing to watch before you go public. And I also skipped this. And most of the feedback that I got was from students who bought the course. And I could have given them, again, a much better experience. Now, let's talk money. Udemy have a very harsh revenue policy, if I'm being honest, and Udemy courses are almost always at selling rate from $10 to $20. They are counting on many students to buy your course on sale. Thus, the more students you have, the more money you will make. There are two ways to sell courses. One is using instructor promotions, which give you 97% of revenue from sales using coupons or referral link. And the other way is through Udemy sales. In this case, instructors receive 37% revenue from sales without their coupon or referral link. You select your course price and it depends on course length, competitor, prices, and value for money. How much money you make is really up to you and how your course is, providing value. If you spend time on creating a good course using a hot topic, you will have more chances of making more money. At the end of the day, though, it's not just about the money. As I said, I gained so much more out of this that not being rich from this and not covering my mortgage is really totally okay with me. Now, I work in R&D, and if I'm being nice to my skill set, marketing is definitely not one of them. So this was the hardest part for me. I am not a salesperson. It did not come natural to me, and I'm still not publishing my course in any paid media. All of the students are from organic sales or from Udemy's own promotions. That being said, that's just me. Don't be shy. Publish on any social media you find fit and use any marketing method will work for you. And honestly, I would also use AI here to pitch in some ideas on how to market if you're not a salesperson or a marketing person. Now, if you got this far, you finished preparing your course, you published it, you marketed the hell out of it, and you have a nice stream of students enrolling. Now is the time to keep updating the content and stay relevant. Try to engage with your students. Send them from time to time a nice article or new information or global webinars or conferences that might be useful for them. And be responsive to questions and assignments. I will say that I don't get many questions and assignments a month, so for me, it's pretty manageable. Whew, we covered many things today, and I hope that it was helpful for you. I am looking forward to hear from you that you have created your own course, and send me a link to it. I promise I will watch it. Help me change the statistics about women instructors. So to wrap up, we covered what is Udemy, how to leverage underdog theory to online learning. We talked about the actual steps needed to take in order to create your course and what tools you need. I share with you what was my motivation to create my course and how it impacted me. And I truly hope it will be a great journey for you as well. Thank you all for joining and dedicating this time to hear me. Stay in touch and do not hesitate to contact me for contacts, collaborations, or any questions. Thank you.